was the fifth out of 6 children.
Mm-hmm.
I had two brothers, and me, and 3 sisters.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, I was born in 1930, and that was right after the Depression.
Mm-hmm.
So things were kind of rough to make a living.
Right.
My dad, he worked at a forge plant in Fremont here for, I don't know, 30 years. He was a hammerman, whatever that,
I was gonna ask.
if you wouldn't know what that is, but anyway, it's a drop forge plant. And then my 2 brothers worked there after they got out of the service. And then I got worked there for a year and a half after I got out of the service.
Mm-hmm.
But during, let's see, when I was growing up, I went to Atkinson Grade School
In Fremont.
in Fremont.
Okay.
And then I went to the 7th grade. It was a junior high over in town.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to have to walk. We didn't have no bus service, so I had to walk the railroad tracks. That was the closest way to get there.
Wow. A lot of trains.
Oh yeah, we'd jump on a train once in a while, catch a ride. It was going slow enough.
Right.
Anyway, I went there till I was 10 and a half years. Let's see. Then I used to set pins up till from the 7th grade up to 10 and a half years.
Mm-hmm.
So it was almost 4 years I set pins. And then I quit school and joined the Navy.
You were 17 then?
I was 17 when I quit school.
Okay.
But then I had to work 6 months till I was 18.
Okay.
And then
Well, I want to know about your parents, definitely.
well, my dad come from Switzerland, Zurich, Switzerland. And my mother came from Budapest, Hungary.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a young man, I don't know, maybe 18 or 19 years old. He came to this country, and he ended up in Michigan. And he worked in the lumber mills up there. He always worked real hard job. Anyway, they met in Michigan. My mother, she came over by a cousin sponsored her to come over. And I really don't know too much about her. She worked in, she had a rooming house in Lorraine, I think. And then she ended up in Michigan, and they got married. Got married.
Do you know where in Michigan? Must have been pretty far north he was working.
It was Escanaba.
Okay.
That's pretty far. Anyway, and then they traveled around, and then they got back into Fremont, and they lived over on Morrison Street. They bought a house there. And he used to raise a lot of garden, sell vegetables to make money,
Mm-hmm.
plus working all the time. He'd help the neighbors, he'd help the farmers. Always really good heart. He'd even volunteer my services.
Yeah.
uh,
Were you pretty young?
yeah,
This time?
yeah. We had cows, and we had chickens, we had pigs, ducks, geese. We raised everything over there. And then every winter we'd butcher. But I used to have to. He always worked from 3 to 11 in the afternoon. He'd always have his mornings off. So in the evenings, I'd have to milk the cows and do all the chores. Because I was only like 12 years old when World War II broke out. And my brothers were all in the service. My sisters, they worked, my oldest sister worked with the proving grounds.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, Julia, she worked,
Erie,
well,
the Erie
Yeah, they made Standard Products is what it really was, but
Okay.
that's where they made a lot of tank tracks,
Wow.
tanks, and other stuff for the war effort.
Mhm.
And I don't know.
What branches of the service did your brothers go in?
My oldest brother was in the Army. He spent a lot of time over in the Pacific, Guam. He was in Guam after they captured Guam.
Wow.
And my other brother was on a aircraft carrier. He was a cook. And he he was good guy. But he died at early 46 years old in a hunting trip in Pennsylvania. He got to go deer hunting, so he had a heart attack or something. My other oldest brother died at 69. He lived in Tiffin, and he worked at the Ford plant in Sandusky. 20 years, I guess. Anyway, not much else.
Grandpa, your dad. Do you know like what his life was like when he was in Switzerland too? I know you and Grandma got to go back. You got to see his house.
Yeah, it was all work over there. But, I don't know. I never did hear exactly why he left. Because he had his mother and father still living, sisters and brothers. I never did hear why he left, but he never went back. He always wanted to go back to see,
Yeah.
but my mother wouldn't let him. She was too tight with the nickel.
Did he used to write?
He wrote to his sisters and brothers all the time.
Wow.
That's how we got connected with them after they died. We go through their things, and Mom found this letter and address. So she wrote to this cousin, and he wrote back. And that's when your mother, your mother, and Alice and Carl. That's when your mother went over there for a year, and then when you went over, she saved her hide because she could speak and understand.
Yeah. Wow.
And that really helped. Because they didn't speak any English. But Alice, the one cousin over there, speaks very good English now. They all take English in school now. I don't know.
You still keep in touch?
Oh yeah. Mom, she emails this one boy.
Wow.
That's pretty neat. Yeah. She tells what's going on here, and he tells her what's going on over there.
Wow.
Yeah.
What about your mom too?
Well, she was a Hungarian, and you got to know the Hungarian people to understand they get what they want usually.
Stubborn.
But she was a hard disciplinarian. She could squeeze the nickel tighter than anybody I ever seen.
Wow.
She couldn't spend anything. I don't know. She was a little short lady. You've probably seen the pictures of her. She was a hard worker. Always had great baker and cook. She could cook up some of the tastiest meals. Baked goods. Every Saturday was bake day. We lived in we had a kitchen down in our basement over there. They remodeled the house. She didn't want to mess up the kitchen upstairs, so she did everything down the basement. It was nice down there, cool in the summer. We had one of these old, big old stoves, wood fired,
Mhm.
and one side had gas. She baked in that thing. Beautiful stuff.
Pastries.
Oh yeah, breads. She always cooking something. Always had something to eat. When we came home, or big pot of soup on the stove, or
Did you have favorites?
food.
Yeah, that she used to make.
Just about all of it.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, it was all good. She could make up the best chicken paprika. That was one good favorite meal. And yeah.
Wow. They spoke English together, obviously your parents.
Yeah.
Wow.
But then they rattle off.
Right.
Whenever my mom would talk to us kids, she'd talk to us in Hungarian. I could understand it, pretty good.
Mhm.
My dad always spoke English to us. I wish he spoke German too.
Uh-huh.
But they could understand each other.
Wow.
Yeah. And back then, there was a lot of people, a lot of their friends that were Hungarian, lived in town,
Wow.
and they'd visit back and forth. And my dad, he had a couple of German buddies that they'd get together. They always made wine. He'd make wine in the summer or the fall out of grapes. We had a grape harbor, and we usually had about 750-gallon barrels of wine in the basement.
Wow.
Every fall. Make sure you had 7 barrels, and they'd keep aging and getting better all the time.
Right.
But anyway, then he'd have his old friends to come over and they'd get into that wine barrel. So they're all acting up, drinking wine and
Yeah.
telling lies.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, it was fun. Every Sunday we'd just about have a roast chicken. We'd go out in the morning and roast chicken,
Wow.
clean it, and have that for dinner. We'd have a lot of these little Hungarian friends come over for dinner.
Mhm.
And just about every Sunday we'd have company. People come over and have dinner. They love to come over to our house for dinner. Good food.
Yeah.
All homegrown. Hardly ever went. The only thing she bought out in the store was sugar, flour. But it was no vegetables, no meats,
Mhm.
no nothing.
Wow.
Everything was raised at home.
Mom said she remembers the spices when they used to go to visit. The dill and
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So what did you used to do with your siblings when you had free time? Probably didn't have a lot.
What do you mean?
Like sports or
Like
what you used to do when you had a little downtime growing up?
growing up? Oh, like fun?
Yes.
I'd play with the neighbor kids. There's a bunch of boys lived down by there's a bridge over the railroad tracks. There's guys there. And then I had a kid right next door to me, Kenny Miller. We used to play cowboys
Yep.
back in the hill. And, we make toys like the scooters.
Uh-huh.
We make scooters.
You get the wheels. How did you get the wheels?
We used old roller skates,
Uh-huh.
the old metal roller skates.
Yeah.
We take them apart, and then back wheel and the front wheel for the scooter.
Wow.
It worked good. Yeah. My oldest brother bought me my first bicycle one Christmas. I thought I died and went to heaven. Brand new bike with Montgomery Ward. I think he paid, I'm sure, $26 for it. It was really a nice, really
Mhm.
nice bike. Yeah.
Now, who was older? Were the sisters the oldest? Or the brothers?
My oldest sister's still living. She lives in Elyria. She's 81 maybe?
Is this Pennsylvania?
No, I have a sister that lives in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
She's 2 years older than me. She's 75.
Okay.
And I'll be 73 in July. And my younger sister, she lives in Magnolia, Mongoloid.
Mhm.
She died, 15 years ago.
Okay.
She was 50. She outlived her life expectancy.
Wow.
And she lived with my sister in Pennsylvania after my mother died. Yeah. But she was well taken care of.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Just a lot of old empty pictures. There's me and Mom.
Oh. And then this is your parents in here.
Yeah. This is my older brother here
Okay.
and his wife, and Julia and my mom. And that's Julia's husband there.
Okay.
My dad.
Wow.
Yeah.
Deep. Is this before you got married? Maybe.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
A couple of babies there. Yeah, these are all just.
Mm. This is a neat one too.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a. Well, that's when you take pictures, always mark them, because you'll forget when it was taken.
Right.
These are all just postcards from. Why we even save some of this stuff.
Landing on an aircraft carrier?
Yeah. So, I haven't looked at these before, right?
This is fun.
Carrier. John riding a horse. This one.
Wow.
I don't know.
How long were you in Newfoundland?
Year and a half.
Okay.
Year and a half. Came home once on leave. And I caught heck for that. Because I never used to write. could have took more leaves if I wanted to, I guess. There's my, down in Pennsylvania, and that was taken.
Wow.
This is the gym that I worked at. The swimming pool is over at this end. Look how big that is.
It's on the ship.
No.
Okay.
That was up in Newfoundland.
Wow.
Oh, this is all hobby room over here. Place was huge. We used to roller skate in there.
Ooh, that sounds fun.
At night, we'd shut all the lights off,
Yep.
and we'd about 10 of us took roller skates on,
Mhm.
and then we'd play tag
In the dark.
in the dark.
Hear each other.
Oh, God.
That sounds really fun.
Fun. I'm telling you, we'd laugh. We had no fun with this.
That's
Wintertime is just cold and wind blowing all the time.
wow.
I have to sort this out.
Did you get to know any of the Newfoundlanders? The people up there?
Pretty much, yeah. But they were, a lot of them worked on the base
Okay.
as cleaners
Mhm.
in one building. Here's an interesting. Here's me, my mom, and a couple cows.
Oh, Grandpa. Oh. Good.
Fun.
That's neat.
Yes. That was my brother's motorcycle, older brother. I used to ride that thing all the time. Oh, that's just my dad, me, my sister, and this was her husband's sister, and that was her husband's mother. And then Al.
Wow.
And there's my older brother, his wife.
Wow.
And that's, this is how we dress in the winter time.
Wow. I like the uniforms.
That's front of our house over on Morrison Street. These are the barracks we lived in up in Newfoundland.
Wow.
Back behind there was a big galley where you ate all the time. This is in a port over in Italy. These people would come out and beg for stuff.
Wow.
Anything you want to give them. Here's the convoy we was always in. Ships.
You guys didn't see action, is that right?
No.
Okay.
No action. Even after the Korean War, we never left from any training.
Wow.
These are all the people. St. John's, Newfoundland.
Mhm.
You heard of that already, I imagine.
Yes.
New town, no paint.
Wow.
Yeah, I have to get the sort these all out.
Is this pretty close to where the base was?
No,
Okay.
it was about 90 miles away.
Wow. Grandpa, these are artistic.
Yeah, those are old cards that Romano. These are all over in Italy.
Wow. Neat.
My buddy. There's my buddy from Toledo. And this guy is from Massachusetts, I think he was.
Wow.
This guy was from Cleveland. Coming home one weekend, we got in a wreck. And ended up in the hospital for 3 months.
Wow. Good.
There's old John Myers from Indiana. He used to do a lot of leather work. These are all your leather tools.
Wow.
We all did that.
Huh. Well, did you get this one from like a mountain? The air maybe?
This is over in Italy.
Okay.
Sicily. That's in Sicily.
Wow. Okay.
This is over home. And it was cruising along the shoreline over there. I think it was in Sicily there. This is an old British warship.
Wow.
English ship, yeah. That's about it, I think. That's all my junk. I have to straighten it out later.
This is really neat. Pulling a couple out to show mine.
They're all about the same.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Great.
And Great Lakes.
So you trained in, would this be like boot camp?
Yeah.
Okay, in Illinois?
No, Kenosha, Wisconsin.
Yep, I've heard of that.
That's where,
Wow. Did you spend time in Boston too?
Yes, I did. We stayed overnight or two because we flew out of Boston. When we first went to Newfoundland, they flew us up there. Yeah. In an old DC-3, 2 engines on it, and we'd sit along the sides.
Wow.
Cargo in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Canvas seats.
Wow.
We'd be sitting in there, cold. That's where they wanted us to travel.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh. Wow.
I don't know what else. First time I golfed was on a honeymoon.
Really? Where did you go on your honeymoon?
Pocono Mountain, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
For a week.
Wow.
That's fun. We drove. Went to my sister's. She was in Marksville. We went there first and then went on to her.
Wow.
We had a lodge for a week. This was over in Monte Carlo, France.
Okay. Wow.
Way up this hill here is where the big casino and stuff is.
Uh-huh.
Really rich,
Yes. Yep.
ritzy place is.
Did you get to go up there?
They wouldn't let us.
Okay.
But we get in our gun mounts, and the sights on them are just like really binoculars, you know?
Yeah.
And we trained and gun around, and we could watch, see the people up there. You know?
Yep. That's great.
See those things going into the tie of the ship up?
Mhm.
And what those are for?
No.
Those round things there. They're
So-
rat guard.
Rat. Oh wow.
Keeps the rats from falling up the rope and getting on the ship.
Yeah.
And all these round docks and stuff really had rats.
Wow. Hmm. Did you take this picture?
No. This was taken and we had to buy them.
Okay.
That's one way they make money too. Yeah. That was a good ship. We were in seas that were so rough, the waves would come clear over our ship.
Wow.
We'd dip down, the waves would come clear over. I used to have to, once in a while I'd full duty to steer, to be a helmsman.
Wow.
And we were in seas so rough, nobody could get up to relieve me. So I forget how long I had to be there, to be steering the ship. You couldn't keep it on course because wave would come up and another one hit you on the side, and right now you're 30, 40 degrees off course, so then you have to fight to get it back, and you always try to head into the waves.
Wow.
And it was fun though.
So you spent a lot of time in the Mediterranean and some in the Atlantic?
Atlantic and Mediterranean. Yeah. Yeah, we got to Spain. We always wanted to go to Spain. The ports of Spain that we never did.
Well, Gibraltar's just south of Spain, right?
Yep. It's
Okay.
right at the, to get into the Mediterranean, Gibraltar's on the right and Spain is on the left.
Wow.
And it's just a channel maybe, I think it's 5 miles wide.
Wow.
That's how big the entrance is to get into the Mediterranean. But it was fun. A lot of good memories.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we've seen a lot of countries, a lot of the world. I never regretted a minute being in.
Yeah.
I know. I enjoyed it.
All the
Never
people. Yeah.
We had good guys, good crew. You get to know everybody real well. It was fun.
There's some hard things too. Boot camp.
Well, in boot camp, we just go through. But I never minded a bit. I never said it was tough. I always, of course I was younger then, I could take quite a bit.
Right.
Yeah. It was, I had no problem. Some guys, had it easier all their life or whatever. That's how we used to dress in boot camp.
Wow.
Leggings, and we did a lot of marching with guns, with shoulder rifle,
Wow.
do exercise.
How did you pick the Navy?
Well, kind of my brother Al, he was in the Navy, and he always was in the Army, man. He'd be sleeping on the ground in tents and all
Yeah.
things. I went to the Navy, I got, what?
I'm gonna show these to Mom.
What?
I'm gonna show these to Mom.
Oh, okay.
Well, is their job, do they carry the fuel? The carriers?
Well, they carry it for their own self, plus
The
well,
planes?
guys, Yeah, oh yeah, they're so huge.
Grandpa, did I hear that you used to dive off of these?
I did off of my ship here. I dived from here,
Wow.
off of this platform right here.
Were you a little bit worried that you'd...
No,
Okay.
because you're high enough.
Yeah.
See, you can see right here,
Yeah.
you didn't have that awful far to cover to get out the wind.
Did you ever see whales? Dolphins?
No, but we've seen a lot of dolphins.
Wow.
I've seen whales. We've seen a lot of dolphins. They'd follow us
Wow.
right alongside the ship. And just a whole bunch of, they jump
Yeah.
as we're going.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like down by Cuba?
We used to go fishing, like in the Mediterranean. There'd be a real hot day, and
Mm-hmm.
the captain would say, "Oh, let's have a swim call." So we'd have a swim call.
Did you have to guard them?
Yeah, we'd be two guys up here
Wow.
with rifles,
Yeah.
in case any sharks or anything.
Had to have a good eye.
But anyway, that's
Uh,
we used to have a lot of good swim calls. Yeah. And fishing. Sometimes we have let's stop and fish for a while.
Mhm.
Everybody grabbed their they had fish poles whoever
Mhm.
wanted to. In this special place that we go fishing. Sometimes we catch a bunch.
what kind of fish do they have?
Deep sea fish like dolphins. They're not the big dolphins.
Mhm.
They're called dolphins, but they're very good at eating.
Huh.
Snappers. All good eating fish.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mm.
We had 176 guys on each ship.
Wow.
That was the full capacity of the ship. Yeah.
Guessing there's a lot of space below deck.
No.
No? Okay.
See, you can see it ain't very big
Right.
compared to a man, you know? Okay.
Yeah.
Up front
Right.
here is where the chiefs and the officers would sleep, up in here. And all back here underneath was where the crew slept. And we'd sleep in bunks about this far apart. This is big enough to get in. Maybe
Right.
about 5 high
Wow.
on both sides. And then I forget, three compartments.
Just rocks at night. The storm.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
especially this size ship. You get bounced around in the storm.
Wow. It's probably good they were so flat that you didn't have a lot of space to bounce off.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was good experience. These were 6-inch guns. They shot a 6-inch bullet per shell.
That's, yeah.
Pretty good size. There were magazines down below, and then they'd have elevators. You put the shells on there. The elevator would bring them up, and there'd be guys inside there. I'd take them and load the guns.
Were these, are they called destroyers or battleships?
These are destroyers.
Okay.
Only these were rigged for minesweeping. See these
Okay.
two things back here?
Yeah.
And then we had depth charges, big racks of depth charges back here also. That's another job I had to do.
What does a depth charge do?
Well, if it was going after submarines,
Yep.
you could set them to blow up at 50 feet,
Okay.
150 feet, or 50 feet, or 100 feet.
Wow.
And you'd set the depth on them as whatever the
Mhm.
captains would call back there for. And when they get down that far, the compression would, how to explain this? They had a detonator.
Mhm.
Okay, you take these two coffee cups.
Uh-huh.
Okay, both these canisters were explosives.
Okay.
And in the middle you'd put this detonator. There'd be a little slot. When that pressure would squeeze that together,
Mhm.
It would set that detonator off, which would set these 2 canisters off of explosive, which would blow the whole thing. The whole thing that was in, it was probably this big around, probably this long, full of dynamite.
Wow.
And then you get down and blow up, and then the concussion and stuff would get these cells.
Wow.
Yeah, nasty. Yeah. Yeah, we did a lot of them just for practice. Yeah.
Wow.
I used to have to put them detonators. That was a ticklish job because you'd carry them out in a little box. They'd be all full of these set in their own individual tubes. You drop one of them and blow up. Anyway, then I'd have to put them in them canisters and we'd slide them into the depth charge itself. But that was my job.
Were you guys trained for a few jobs? Like you said, you were at the helm sometimes.
Oh yeah. When you got a ship that size,
yeah,
everybody has to know more than one job.
Wow.
And I had guns that I took care of. 1mm, 40mm. And 6-inch guns, we all worked on. Oh, we had a regular gun crew that took care of everything. All that stuff.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty neat. Our gun shack used to be right here. Little bitty cubby hole. About half the size of this room. And the galley was right down here.
The windows.
Yeah, right down in there.
Wow.
We used to come in here, like for dinner or supper, breakfast, line up along this wall, and then go on down as we somebody get up and get on the seat about 30 guys at the most.
Wow.
And then as soon as they get done, then the next bunch will go down.
Wow. Good food?
Yeah, we always had good food.
That's good.
Except when you was out at sea for a long time, and they run out of food.
Right.
You always had plenty of rice, bags of rice, and flour. They would make bread and rice. You'd eat rice and coffee. We always had coffee. But they'd run out a couple of times. We ran out at sea until you get a ship along, like the carriers, just put food over. But when you're in port, you always had good food. Meats, milk, fresh milk.
This is on the ship.
Yeah.
Good officers.
Yeah. I always had good. Half of them were 90-day wonders. They didn't know any more than you.
Yeah.
They'd ask you what to do. But we had good guys.
Alright. Well, I want Mom to see some of these pictures. So. Yeah. Were there any favorite places that you visited while you were in the service?
Oh yeah, France, Italy. We were in Sicily, Palermo. North Africa, we pulled in one time and to get refuel, and we pulled into this little inlet like here's a set of American tanker in there. You couldn't even see it. It was so camouflaged.
Wow.
We pulled up so the side of that thing and refueled. We put fuel oil there, and now it's practically all nuclear powered. But when we were out at sea, if we needed fuel, we'd pull up alongside of a carrier, and we'd That used to be my job too, is to get that line across. I'd have to shoot this line
Wow.
over to
Yeah.
the carrier, and then they'd use that to pull the bigger rope over, and then that bigger rope was hooked onto the huge for the oil to go through, and we'd get that hooked up. It
Wow.
used to be quite a. Then we'd rig if we wanted to transfer some person, or if
Wow.
the guy wasn't sick or something, needed medical attention, or because on our ship we didn't have anything other than chlorine.
Mhm.
But we'd rig up a bucket. We'd set in this bucket and we'd pull him over to the other ship.
Wow.
Yeah. I used to have pictures of them.
Going across.
There they are. Mom had a picture of my ship. I have a few left. Here.
Wow. This
See,
is.
here's a carrier. Here's the fuel line that used to run over to our ship.
Mhm. Wow.
This one here, right? There's Gibraltar.
Wow. Did you go ashore there?
Yep. Naples Lake.
Wow. This is really cool, Grandpa. Was it fun being on deck? Must have been.
Oh yeah. When I went into the service, this guy is from Clyde. I still see him every once in a while. But me and him went to our physical in Cleveland together.
Wow.
I was getting on the bus. Oh, Ronnie Freight.
Sweet.
There's me when I was down in Panama City. Look how dark that
Wow.
is. See, this is how they transferred a person.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bucket.
Yep. There was over in Italy somewhere. St. Martin. This is up in Newfoundland. That's me on board ship.
Wow.
This guy's from Toledo. I see him every once in a while. We was together 4 years.
Wow.
This is one of my gun mounts I had to take care of. Yeah. This is transfer of that guy. And there's our ship out at sea.
Wow.
Oh, that was 23. We're on 25.
Your sister.
Yeah. There's my ship.
Neat.
Yeah, that was fun.
You sent this to your family then, maybe?
Probably.
Good.
There's my neighbor boys when I was growing up. Guys I used to run around with.
And the twins in this picture?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Anybody.
Wow. That's neat.
This was down in Florida. That was my sister in New Jersey. After I got out of the service, we went down there.
Wow.
I went down there with my dad and brother. He was taking the picture. But anyway, we went down to the shore, and that was down in Florida.
Wow.
Here's my brother that died at 46.
Okay.
That was down there at my sister's at the same time. That was when I just got out of the service. That was my dad. And no, this is how dark I was. This guy's a Panamanian. He come
Wow.
from Panama. He's dark anyway.
Yeah. Wow, you're really.
I was really dark. There's my dad. And,
The little guys.
yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
There's me, my first communion. This is our house over on Morrison Street.
Is this your sister?
Uh,
Maybe another little girl. It was her first communion?
yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. Yes.
Wow. Pretty nice.
This is, those were 40 millimeter guns.
Wow.
This was my brother. He was in the Philippines. I got that in there.
This is He was also in Guam, right?
No, he was in the Philippines.
Okay.
The older brother, I don't have any pictures of him.
Okay.
This was target we used to put out and then we'd shoot at it
Oh, wow.
on ship. This is an old buddy of mine in Indiana, Elkhart. That's the guy I try to always find when I get down to Elkhart.
Oh, wow.
John Myers.
Hmm.
I never have found him. That ain't Mom. That's out of Florida.
Okay. Wow.
There's that John Myers again. We
Neat.
used to be good buddies. That was me when I was a kid.
Very cute. Wow, where's this, Grandpa? This is neat.
Oh, that was over in Sicily.
Wow.
No, Romano, Piazza, something. Italy.
Wow.
And maybe picture.
Wow. Is this on? That's not on the ship, then.
No, that was on a sightseeing somewhere. I think that was in Italy too. There's me diving.
Wow, that's a nice swan dive.
We're up
That's
around deck
great.
playing cards. This is barracks is at up in Newfoundland. We slept up here, and this is all where families would live.
Wow.
They bring their family.
The Navy families?
Yeah. There's my little brother, Red. Yeah. One that died.
Mm-hmm.
This was a color fellow that was up in Newfoundland there with us.
Cool.
Pretty cool guy.
Yeah.
And there's this was over at our home place on Morrison Street.
Wow.
There's my brother and two sisters. She's the oldest. That's Julia.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Helicopter landing.
Were your sisters married by the time you were in the service?
Oh no, no.
Okay.
No, they didn't get married till after the war was over.
Okay.
There's just a lot of pictures. There's my brother Al.
Mm-hmm.
Joined the Navy. And I spent 4 years in the Navy. Spent a year and a half in Newfoundland.
Really?
2.5 years in aboard ship.
Right.
So,
Right. You have to tell me about each of these places, too.
do what?
You have to tell me about each of these places or these times.
Okay.
Newfoundland and...
Well, Newfoundland was it was kind of fun. I got in the recreation department when I was in Newfoundland because it's always very cold up there and windy.
Mm-hmm.
And they asked me if I could swim, so they made me a lifeguard. So I was in charge of the swimming pool. And we had a great big huge Quonset hut and a gym.
Mm-hmm.
We had about 3 or 4 basketball courts in the place. It was so big. We had volleyball, we had handball, we had like a little pool room, and then we had a hobby shop.
Mm-hmm.
It was all in this one building. There was about 12 of us that took care of the whole place.
Mm-hmm.
And
What was the ship called?
USS Fitch. I got a
Okay.
picture of it. It was a destroyer minesweeper, and we got all over. We were in our first big cruise was over in the Mediterranean. We went through the Straits of Gibraltar, and our ship was able to, it was small enough where we could pull into the docks, right into the towns or wherever, and then we'd get to go ashore. see the people and whatever.
Wow.
Then we went to places in France, Cannes and Nice, France, in the summertime. And we get littered in, we go to the beach.
Wow.
And then we was all over Italy, from Sicily to clear up into the northern, or Greece. And
Mm-hmm. Is that where Tuscany is, or not really? I see Rome is in the middle.
yeah,
I'm not sure where Venice is.
Venice is way up on the top, where
Okay.
Greece and Italy come together.
Mm-hmm.
We were up there. We pulled in all these ports just for more or less goodwill.
Right.
And
Promote the good
Yeah.
image of America.
yeah, it was fun. And then we were over there for golly, 6 months. And then we came back. Our home port was in Charleston, South Carolina. So we came back and repainted the ship and worked on it for a couple of months. Get it back in ship shape. Because salt water on those ships was really bad.
Mm-hmm.
They'd rust out so bad. He was always fighting rust.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, then after we got off of that and got back out to sea, we went down to Cuba. Operated around Florida a lot, up into Panama City, Florida. We went to
Right. In the Gulf.
west side, Gulf side.
Okay.
And before I know it, my hitch was up.
Yeah.
It went too fast. I liked it. Anyway, we got discharged in Charleston, South Carolina. And I didn't see my sister, and she lives in New Jersey,
Mm-hmm.
Morrisville, Pennsylvania. Oh, for the whole 4 years that I was in. So when I got out discharged, I hitchhiked up to her
Wow.
house. And I got to her house. Nobody was home, and they had a back porch with a swing on it. So I laid down on the swing, fell asleep. And they came home and they didn't know who was there, some bum or because I just got done with that Florida tour and I was so dark
Mm-hmm.
from sunburn, suntan.
Yeah.
And finally she recognized me. I had civilian clothes on then.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Anyway, and then my brother and dad came down to visit and I rode home with them. Let's see. And then I wasn't home too long. I went to work at Herbrand, where my dad worked, my brothers worked.
What they did forging?
Mm-hmm. They used to make axles for trucks,
Mm-hmm.
connecting rods for cars, motors, engines. They made tools, like wrenches,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of stuff. And so I worked there for about a year and a half, and then they closed up. They've been in this town for a long time, 30, 40, 50 years, and they finally, somebody bought them out and they moved in Chicago.
Wow.
So I got laid off and I didn't want to go to Chicago, so
Okay.
well, in the meantime, me and Mom were going together.
Mm-hmm. How did you two meet?
How did we meet?
Yeah.
I had a buddy in Fremont that Mary Lou was out in training up in
Mhm.
Toledo, and he knew this girl who was in training there. So he says, well, let's go up to Toledo and see. I want to go see my gal and we'll call her and
Yeah.
see if she got her friend. We want to go out and have something to eat or something. So we did that and brought Mary Lou along. So then it was a couple hours and we took them back to their nurse's quarters.
Mm-hmm.
And that was it. And then another night, he says, let's go up to Tiffin. There used to be a nightclub up there. He says, let's go up there and see what's going on. So we did, and there Mary Lou was. So I met her before, so we danced and danced.
Wow.
And that was it. From there on, we just kept dating,
Yeah.
She worked at the hospital down here. Yeah. We ended up getting married. So,
About how long did you date before you got married?
about 6 months, good.
Mm-hmm.
6, 8 months, I don't remember exactly. She'd probably tell you the date.
Yeah. Wow.
So I don't know. The rest is all history.
Yes.
We'll be married 50 years this coming July.
Wow.
So, I don't know. What else? Ask more questions.